Hi there and welcome back to my channel. This is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer, with another book review. In this video we're discussing Five Nights, written by Rachel Wolf. It's a closed circle mystery and suspense thriller. Now the closed circle comes into it because all the suspects are in a small group, in this book one family. And it's on a small footprint as well, so it's almost like a locked room mystery as well. And the small footprint is a luxury cruise ship. So it's quite intense because of that, because you get a small footprint, a small cast of suspects that all know each other very well. So who's guilty, who's not, who's lying, who's not, that's part of the fun of this story. Anyway, let's dive into the book. At the start of this story, our protagonist, Emily, receives an invitation from an old friend called Belle. Now, Emily and Belle were best friends, but they haven't seen each other for over 3 years. You find out why in the story. If you want to know why, you have to read the book. But she has this invitation, and it's for a cruise ship, to go on the maiden voyage of this cruise ship. So Belle married this guy who's mega rich. Belle is his second wife. The first wife did die under mysterious circumstances. Most people think an accident. Some people aren't so sure. And the people who aren't sure are this guy's adult children. And they're very jealous of Belle. That's one of the themes in this story that runs through the whole book. Anyway, the cruise ship is owned by this guy, Belle's rich husband, as the first voyage, and Emily is invited to be part of the family for that cruise ship. Before she gets on the cruise ship, she receives a mysterious note, like a threatening note, saying something about, "I know what you did all those years ago, like a few years ago. I'm going to tell people," kind of that kind of thing in the note. Emily is a bit worried, but she goes on the cruise ship anyway. Why does Emily still go on this cruise ship after receiving that note? Well, she has different motivations. You find out all about that as you read the book. I'm not going to tell you all about that because I don't want to give things away in this video. But when Emily goes on the cruise ship, we meet the rest of the family. And this book is structured in 5 days and nights splits. We have different chapters, but the structure of the story is those 5 days and nights. Hence the title of the story, Five Nights. I found the first day or so not that gripping. I get it's introducing us to the characters, to the setting, all that sort of thing. I found it a little bit slow. I kind of wish that was sped up a bit and we got to get to some of the more gripping things early on. Because when you do get to the gripping things in this story, it's really gripping, it really hooks you in. There's some good things in there, in that mystery, in that tension, suspense, good elements in there. And with the characters, when you learn more about them and you find out about kind of the secrets they're holding as well. And one of the good things about this story is the doubt in the characters. A lot of doubt about them. Even the main character, Emily, there's doubt about her. Her best friend, Belle, there's doubt about her. There's doubt about all those main characters in this story. And that makes it exciting, interesting, and sometimes fun. Because those character traits they portray. I mean, there's hatred, there's jealousy, there's envy. There's just all these negative things going on with these characters. And those negative traits make you wonder, who's next? Who's in trouble next? Who's going to wind up dead next? Because somebody does wind up dead in this story. Because when you have characters like that in books like this, it's often those character traits that lead to death, isn't it? So you're wondering, who's next? Who's next on that list? It's kind of fun in that way. It brings a little bit of fun element into the story, even though the kind of themes around that aren't so fun. It kind of brings fun into the story because you're wondering who's next. It keeps you reading, keeps you just turning those pages to find out all those secrets and what's going to go on in the plot. A huge theme in this story is secrets, big and small, and consequences of secrets, whether those consequences are big and small. But secrets play a big part of this story. Every character has secrets. Protagonist Emily does. Belle does. The rest of the family does, including her husband. There's other people having secrets as well. So I like that in the story. That theme runs right through there. It makes you doubt the characters. Even though those characters are unlikable so many times in the story, it makes them engaging in some way as well because you're wondering what those secrets are. And it kind of hooks you in because of that. But one thing was a bit odd for me in this story. The friendship between Emily and Belle. It just felt so toxic. There's so many things going on between those two characters. I'm not going to say what they are. If you want to know, read the story, but it feels so toxic. I just don't know how they can be friends. And especially as the book progresses, when things come out, and towards the end of the story, I don't know how they can be friends throughout the story. I just don't get it. It feels so toxic, that friendship. I read another story, and I can't recall the name of it, but recently I read another story that had a toxic friendship as well. I'm just wondering, I hope that's not a theme in, modern thrillers or mysteries, a toxic friendship, because I just don't get that. In real life, would you have a toxic friendship like this? If you want to read the book, you might understand more, because I don't want to give it away. But that friendship between them both is very toxic indeed. So Emily is our protagonist, and while we get a good enough picture of her, and she does drive the story forward well enough, I don't know if the author goes deep enough into Emily. It's more on the surface. We get a little bit about her history and about secrets she's holding. We get to see some of her feelings about what's going on the cruise ship, things that happened to her. But part of me thinks this could have gone deeper. This could have just delved into her psyche a bit more, given her stronger emotions, stronger feelings. That would have made Emily to stand out so much more. But she's okay for a book like this, I think, because the book does move quite fast in the later sections in the story. I do wonder if it delved too deeply in those sections, would it slow that pace down? So good enough for the story, I think. Just me, I just wish it delved a bit deeper sometimes into just her feelings, her emotions, just what makes Emily Emily in the story. Belle is Emily's best friend, and she's well written. There's doubts about her. There's secrets she's holding. There's things she's done that you find out about and makes you wonder, what is she capable of? What's she done in the past? Are these rumours, are these suspicions about her really true? And all those doubts swirl around in this story. And you'll find yourself, well, I found myself reading this, wondering, are these things true? And sometimes it makes you believe it. Whether it's true or not, I'm not going to tell you, but you do believe certain things about her, and that's the power of the story, I think, and that's very well done with this character. That's all down to how the characters are written, and all how other characters perceive her as well, through dialogue, through body language, just through different clues or suspicions that swirl around the ship. So I do like that about this character. I like how the character's written, I like how Belle is injected into the story and used in the story overall. Jimmy is one of the children, one of the rich guy's children, before he married Belle. So all these children are adults, and I think Jimmy's the oldest of that family. He's an interesting character. There is doubt about him. But with all the children on the ship in his family, he's the most centered, I think. The most that has a centered viewpoint of what's going on around him. He has jealousy, he has envy and greed in his character, but not to the same degree as other children in the family. So he's more balanced in that way. I found him interesting and engaging. He's used differently than other children in the story. That's another difference between him and his siblings in this book. So I like that about this book. I like the way the author uses those siblings differently in the story to bring out different things about different characters in the book, about themselves, and different things in the story as well. So Jimmy is well used, and I do like his character a lot. When you read this book, you just have to like it for what it is. It's one of those books where you just want to sit back, suspend reality, and enjoy the ride. Because a lot of what happens in this story, you have to suspend belief to really enjoy it. So if you can do that, I think you'll like this book. I rate it a 3.5 out of 5. I've got a feeling this book will find a lot of readers. I think a lot of readers will enjoy this story. There's enough there to make it exciting and engaging. There's doubt, suspicion, suspense, all those things that make thrillers interesting are in this story. To different degrees sometimes, but overall, it's a very enjoyable read. On my channel, I review many thrillers. If you like thrillers, check out my channel and subscribe. On the screen now is a link to a video for another book I'm sure you'll enjoy.